Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you're all warmed up and ready for this same shape study video. We're going to cover the quadriceps. We're going to do it standing and in hero pose and in frog pose. Not sure the order of those two, but we're going to start out standing. So I'm going to head on back here to the mat. And we want to explore how our quadriceps impact our ability to find length and space in our spine. So beginning with the center lines of your feet parallel, your thighs, base of glutes engaged so that you can explore length in the spine. And then just reach the arms up. Pausing here, maybe interlacing the fingers or just reaching up. And rooting across your feet, lifting the heart and feeling the relationship of engaging the quads and being able to lift up the heart and find space. So I want you to be far more concerned with space, okay, than depth, all right? So feeling that the front of your thighs are engaged, that you can center and get a sense of lightness in the knees. So starting from the ground up again, reaffirming space, so engagement across the feet, space in the ankles, the knees, the hips, and feeling the power of the quadriceps. And breathing into this. And then coming up to neutral, releasing the hands, okay? So it's gonna, for me who loves back bends, it's gonna be this dance of keeping as much stability as I can to really come into honest back bends, honest stretches for the quads, okay? But maintaining all my organization, all right? So I'm gonna separate the feet just a little bit, okay? We're going to be taking hold, so pick the foot that you're going to want to take hold. You could always use a strap if you can't easily connect hand and foot, okay? You can always also be near a wall. So still those center lines of the feet parallel, shifting the weight to the left, taking hold of your right. So this is going to be telling in how hero pose and frog pose feel. If it's difficult to get your knee, okay, the lifted knee behind the line of your standing leg, then you're probably going to need some support in Virasana Hero or Bakasana Frog pose, okay? So we're just trying to get a stretch in the front of the quadricep. Now, for me, my heel easily comes to my glute. I don't feel a lot of stretch, so I'm going to basically be working on a standing half hero, bringing my heel toward my outer hip, okay? So if it's still finding length, maybe taking your other arm up, but keeping the center lines of the legs still parallel, lengthening the spine. So I'm trying to keep that lifted knee back, trying to imagine this pose. I think what we'll do next is frog pose. Okay, so that will be on the belly. Good, another breath here, finding your length. We want open channels at the hips, and then without letting the foot snap, release. Good, we're just gonna switch sides, okay? You can always kind of check in between. You know, let's do that. Let's just take a little bit of a back bend. See if we notice a difference between the side we just worked and the side we haven't yet done. So center lines, legs parallel, reach the arms up. You choose if you wanna have the hands connected or not, but lengthen, root across the feet. So lightness in the ankles, the knees, the hips. A lift and lengthen the spine. Breathe and just notice which side feels more available to the back bend, available to the strength. Okay, for me it's the side I just worked. Okay, inhale, coming back up to center and release. Good. So side two. All right, so still center lines of the feet parallel. If I could show it right. Okay, having this opportunity for open channels of the joints and the muscles to support that space, okay, effectively. Okay, so I'm going to face forward just so you can see this. Okay, so we know we want the line, okay, the lifted knee behind the line of the standing. We know we want the center lines of the thighs parallel. Okay, we also, right, want the hips to be level, right and left, and we want the knees to still be level with each other. So we don't want to lean into, okay, the hip. So trying to lift, lengthen out of both ankles, both knees, both hips, lengthening the spine, maybe reaching, extending, okay, the other arm overhead. Okay, but keeping, I'm going to turn this way just to kind of give you the different views, okay, so that I'm keeping this lift knee behind the line. Okay, again, that's going to be important for just information. Okay, so we know, again, if this is difficult, you're going to want to have blocks handy, maybe blanket, bolster. Last effort. And release. Again, just shaking out the legs. Let's check in with the back bend. So rooting across the feet, lengthening the spine, reaching up. Smooth, deep breaths. Be engaged, be powerful as you root down, lifting up out of the ankles, knees, hips, spine. Hopefully feeling a sense of evenness, a sense of lightness across the legs, across the hips. The breath coming into the back body, lifting it up. Returning to neutral, releasing the hands. Good. Okay, so I'm going to transition here onto the belly. Okay, so thinking about the pose we just did, the leg that we won't be catching, okay, the straight leg is going to be our standing leg in a sense. Okay, so take the time though to just choose a leg, internally rotate it in toward the midline, reach it away and lower it. Okay, and then do the same with the other leg, internally rotate, reach, and then lower it. And then use your upper body to find as much length as we can. So one of the risks in being on our belly in this quadricep stretch is that it's easy to cut off the channel at the hip. Okay, so take the time here to create as much space as you can within the body, and then gently press into the tops of the feet. That'll start to ignite the legs. Okay, so we want to feel that the knees lighten up away from the mat, and we want to pull them up toward our hip joints, okay, without it impinging the low back. So it's like we're hugging, okay, so we're bringing energy up and hugging energy in toward the midline. Lengthening the spine, choosing your foot, okay, that you're going to reach back and catch. Again, if that's not easy, okay, if it was difficult to have that line, the knee behind the line of the standing leg, then you'll want to have a strap here. Okay, the lifted bent knee here is going to want to wag out, but don't let it. So carefully bring your bent knee toward your straight leg, and then still keeping that sense. So power in the legs. Groins it's like we're shooting the groins up toward the ceiling, engaging thighs and glutes. Depending on your flexibility, this may or may not feel like much. If it feels like a ton of a quadricep stretch, spine lengthener, you're in your right pose, okay? If you're not feeling a lot, you'll want to come up into a back bend. But still, okay, I want to keep the center lines of my legs parallel, groins, okay, up toward the ceiling and engaging thighs and glutes. So if the heel, again, if it easily gets to your glute, then you can take it toward your outer hip. But just breathe and find length and space. So Ardha Bakasana, half frog pose. Trying to visualize this though as you're standing, okay, quadricep stretch with a back bend, okay? So breathe and find length in the spine. If there's any twinge at the knee, something is off with the alignment. Something's off with the center lines, okay, not being parallel. So you really need to exit carefully, realign as best you can and re-enter slowly because you want open channels at the ankle, knee, and hip joint, okay? Along with the spine and everywhere else. Another breath here. And then carefully release. In between sides, let's explore a little bit of a back bend. So reaffirm the internal rotation, okay? Reaffirm the length. And you could have your hands off to the sides. You could always be on forearms, okay? I want you to be in a position where you can gently press in the tops of the feet, igniting the legs, sending the groins up, engaging the thighs and glutes, sending your heart forward and maintaining the length, okay, of your spine, peeking left and right. maybe closing down the eyes and following the breath. And hopefully noticing that the quadricep you just stretched, that side of your body has more length and space in the entire half of the body. Okay, so I stretched my left quadricep, so I really feel more openness in the left half of my torso. And I'm very eager to even this out. Okay, so again, reaffirming the internal rotation, the length of the spine, gently pressing into the tops of the feet, okay, to ignite, engage, and without closing off any channels, okay, taking hold of your other foot with the strap, with your hand, reaffirming that energy, our energy just wants to go down and out, and we need to bring it up and in, okay, to feel empowered, to feel like we have a say, okay, and how our energy flows through the body. So once you get all that organized, determine if you want to increase the back bend. If you do increase your back bend, make sure you're not sinking into your shoulders and neck, that there's no pinch here across the low back. So a pinch, a twinge, those are signs that we're cutting off the flow. So we always want to exit and re-enter mindfully, carefully, to the appropriate depth. So that straight leg is our standing leg, okay? We want to keep it active and lengthened. Nothing is going to be effective unless we're breathing. So breathe through your nose as much as you can and into as much depth within the body. Really direct your breath to the lowest point of your torso. You could even visualize the breath going all the way down to the soles of the feet. One more breath here. So there's nothing passive here. We're completely active as much as we would be standing. And then carefully release. Okay. Internally rotate. Find length. Okay. And explore again your right back bend. Okay. So, but engaging, igniting, I want to say them both at the same time, length and space. So we want to feel that the muscles are supporting. We want to know we have space around the shoulders and neck. Smooth, deep breath, and hopefully feeling more of a sense of evenness, okay? Right and left halves of the torso. Breathe, that the breath can flow. So the security in our back bends, okay, in addition to being just mindful about depth, really intentional about length, is keeping our lower half really organized, okay, and working on the flexibility of the quadriceps. They're a huge component in our comfort and sense of security in back bends. So now we're going to shift to hero, okay, to virasana. And here you might need, okay, to have blocks handy. So you're going to need to bring your knees, okay, close together, the inner part of the knees, and yet the feet are going to go so you have room, okay, to sit back, okay, and you need those toes to point directly back. I'm going to go ahead and just show it in the side view, okay, splitting the calf flesh, sitting in between, hearing my knees pop. So I'm actually going to end up scooching more toward the front of the mat. So if we were really being true to the same shape concept, we would be doing half hero, which you could absolutely do. One knee would be here, the other leg would be straight. And it just varies from body to body. If full virasana is more accessible than half, okay? But to really get a sense, maybe I'll show both here, of the stretch we've been doing is to just see and explore if laying down is anywhere near possible, okay? So taking your hands, so it just depends on if you can reach the ground behind you, because if you're sitting on a couple of blocks, you may not, okay? So bringing energy up, bringing energy in toward the midline. Don't let the knees wag out to the sides. They're going to want to, okay? Maybe take your hands back behind, okay? If that feels okay, feel stable, lift the seat, tuck the tail, and lower. Okay, and then if you're at this point all is feeling okay, then go ahead and come on down, okay, to your forearms. Now still bringing energy up in toward the midline, lengthening the spine. Okay, again, staying here or lifting the seat, tucking the tail, lowering. All that you really care about, okay, is number one, feeling safe, feeling secure in this. And are you getting the target stretch of the quadriceps and feeling length in your spine? Okay, arms could be overhead. You might not be anywhere near this position, and yet you're still feeling the stretch in your quadriceps, the length in your spine. You're in your right pose. Okay, success. You've got this. I'm going to just start to exit the way I entered, untucking, untucking, untucking as I come up. Okay, now I want to show this in the half hero position. Okay, so you could do this, you could enter it in so many ways, all right? But you would pick a leg that would be out in front, okay, and taking the other one into the half position. Now, the trickiness here is to be able to sit in a level way because it's going to feel off kilter, so you may need some support, okay, a block or two, okay, underneath the seat to feel like you can sit evenly. Again, the bent knee is going to want to wag out to the side, and you're going to need to safely keep, okay, the line, just like if we were standing. Can you sort of see this? Okay, so if we're standing, then truly I should be laying down, okay, if we're keeping the same exact shape, all right? So it becomes tricky, tricky, tricky. You want to make sure everything feels okay, okay? So as I head back, and you could do this, forearms, okay, I'm tucking the tail, reaffirming the alignment of up and in toward the midline. For many people, this is way more intense than the exploration of full hero pose, okay? So this would be our, okay, same shape as standing quadricep stretch, okay? So a huge stretch for most bodies, okay? I love to take this into all sorts of other variations, okay, with the other leg, all right? But here is same shape, just kind of keeping the consistency. Zero pain at the hip, knee, ankle, okay? Whatever expression you're in. And then carefully again, exit carefully, okay? Releasing, it's like you get a brand new, okay, ankle, knee, hip. Checking in, okay, and then maybe exploring on the other side. So I tend, in class when we do same shape studies, for this one I would probably skip the half hero because it just has so many components and so many different bodies all around the room needing different things that it's easier to address the needs in full hero pose. Okay, but the other two are done more easily in the half, okay? All right, so just feeling, okay, the energy that wants to flow down and out and pulling it up and in, lengthening the spine. You could always, right, reach one arm or both arms overhead. The standing, right, the theoretical standing leg being active, breathing. Happy quadriceps, okay, I hope. And then carefully, mindfully, exiting the position. Okay, again, carefully checking in with the ankles. Mine always snap, crackle, pop. The knees, okay, the hips. And I want to end with just a really short exploration in downward facing dog pose, okay? So you can always precede this with cat and cow, okay? But just feeling, hopefully length and space, and maybe the difference in the way your quadriceps might engage and the way your downward dog feels. So you want power, okay? Power in the legs to help, and the seat to help lighten the load in the shoulders, okay, across the neck. Again, maybe feeling the tendency, okay, for the energy. In down dog, I call it kind of puppy energy, where it goes down and out. Okay, like a puppy kind of falling on the slippery floor. And we want to pull the energy up and in without being overly tense adults, okay? We want to feel empowered and strong and a sense of lightness. So even though we stretched, okay, we built awareness in the quadriceps, we opened throughout the body, okay, throughout the back body. And I feel like exploring those same shapes, okay? One informs the next when we're trying to figure out our alignment. What should we be feeling? What should we be getting out of the pose? I'm always thinking about, well, what does this pose look like in this relationship to gravity versus this one? Okay, what's similar? What am I dealing with, working on? And how can I enhance my experience? So I hope that you found this same shape study helpful. I would love to hear from you. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.